Around the same time that you had the sculpture go up in Fairview Park, you donated a similar version.
They looked at one in Fairview Park and they asked me would I make one for Lorient's 21st festival. And I said I would, and that's it there.
So this was the big Celtic festival over in Lorient,
yes,
in Brittany, in France?
In Brittany, in France. That's exactly what it was.
And 1991, to celebrate their 21st anniversary, or 21st birthday, I think, as it's described. Yeah. The Irish delegation that went over there every year, they asked you to donate a piece of
Before they
work.
went out, the fellas who were organised came to me and went to Fairview Park and seen that. I said, look at the one in Fairview Park. That's what we want. Because that's the family. The family was together. The Celtic family was together in that festival. So it was poignant for the idea to be there, isn't it? That's what I'm saying. And that's why it was there. And when that was put up in the hall where it was being performed, and the Fintanala band was there, out of Sheriff Street. And that bloody thing was in Fairview Park. What did you take that out of Fairview Park? Because it's something similar. It comes on the same lines. I mean, it depends upon this piece of scrap I get that makes the head, As a matter of fact, you see that head, that middle head is down lower than that one there. So that'll happen, you know what I mean? That'll happen. The longer things on the back, and it's more pronounced, them heads are more pronounced than the one even in Fairview Park. They're more pronounced, like a little bit more clarity on it than I would have,
I'm going to read you out a little description of when you donated it, because apparently you weren't let in.
Oh.
Right, because here's what it says, right? This is from 1991. And there was somebody writing for a newspaper or a newsletter, and they said, the Irish have donated a sculpture to Lorient, bravo. However, when the sculptor Joe Moran turned up for the official unveiling at the Forum on Saturday morning, he couldn't get in.
Why wasn't there to get in? What happened was I turned up, and I hadn't got the thing around my neck, that badge or the accreditation.
Yeah.
I warmed up, and there was this big, and a big woman. She was like a sumo wrestler. She was speaking to me in French. She couldn't understand English, I couldn't understand French. I said, no, she just pushed me out, and every time I went to go in, she kept pushing me out. So I went for a walk. I said, cheers, what am I? So I went for a walk around, and I came along, and the band, they had a parade. And I'm watching the parade. And this fella from North of Ireland, one from North of Ireland, one from somewhere in Ireland, some of the Celtic papers. I'm standing there, what are you doing here? They said. I said, why? They said, you should be in at the unveiling. I said, what? The piece? Yeah. Why are you in there? I said, she wouldn't let me in. Now, so we went back, and they wanted to speak French. One was in to speak French. So I went in, and the minute I walked in, the organiser, I forget what his name was, he was a man who used to do court cases, right for one of the independent, for one of the newspapers, the Independents, And the minute he walked over to me, where were you? Where were you? I said, I wasn't let in. He said, he was giving the speech, and the Lord Mayor now was up, and fellas with gold braid, and their helmets and their hats and all that bloody stuff, all dressed up, and all the women and all stand up on the bandstand, whatever. And he said, now, and he pointed to the audience looking for me. And I had to say something like, oh, he's sick. He got a bit of virus, or he got sick from travelling. He'll be here later on. Where the hell were you? He said. So then every time I went up to go into the thing, they just let me through. Even if I hadn't got the thing on my neck, they let me through.
He remembered you?
Yeah, of course he did. Yeah.
Have you ever found out what happened to the sculpture in Lorient?
No, I never found it, because my friends, two Belgian nephews, were in Lorient. They were looking for it. They never did. They told me they were going to put it in a certain place, and that was that.
Because at the time it said that it was going to be permanently sited in the city of Lorient. That was the phrase that was used.
Yeah.
But you never found out if it was
I never
installed somewhere?
No, they didn't get it installed, because my nephews, I told you, the Belgians were in Lorient. They went looking for it, and it wasn't installed,
I think during the 80s and I think 1990, you exhibited there in Lorient at that festival. So there was a reason they asked you to
I used to
donate the sculpture.
I used to send stuff over, but this time I decided to go over. You know, I used to send stuff over. Used to come to me, and I used to send sculptor pieces over. But this time I decided to go over with your major piece. You know, that's what it was. You know.
So 1991.
Yeah. It was a great festival. It was the night time was great with the bands and the Celtic people playing. You know, it was a great festival. Brilliant.
And the family unit sculpture was this.
I was there described in this. They have this huge big tent like blowing up. You know, the huge big things they have for the war. What do you call those things? You know, the huge tents. It's made out of. It's blowing. There was two stages in it. There was French musicians and there was Irish musicians always playing the same time, you know, Celtic music, you know, and then they'd all get together and have a jamboree, we call it, you know. That's right, yeah. It was a great festival. Great festival.